Hi, you guys. So I took some time off to get things together. I'm doing much better. But anyway, I'm gonna. I was debating whether you guys let me know if you want to still continue the Black Women History Month. I want to see how you guys feel about that. I'm definitely going to do the financial one because I think that is a serious issue among all of us. I think we're going to have to even get more sharp on our finances with this year coming. With this year more than ever. I think I said that before because of what's happening, and it is World War Three is already happening, and it's a war on everything. I mean, we see what they're doing, what's happening with a lot of the banks. We see the government shutdown, even though it's happened before. I mean, 2019 to 2020 is going to be pushed down into probably a worse depression than it was prior during our great grandparents' age. Okay, so I'm definitely going to make sure I get on those finances. I do want to talk about Black women a little bit, but because I said I'll do that, so I'm going to start my first one tomorrow. I know I said I'll start Thursday or Friday, but I just wanted to make sure after everything that was going on with me, I wanted to make sure I had myself. I just want to make sure I had my priorities together. But anyway, I titled this Reprobate Minds. Now, what do I mean by that? Because in the Black collective, right, people say, oh, Black people just have so much mental illness. They suffer from depression. They suffer from all of this stuff going on, whether it's bipolar depression, what's called anxiety. You know what the problem is? Because I'm going to tell you something. Me being most of my life, especially when getting into groups, being around white people, I can assure you I hardly meet a white person that don't have a mental illness. I can assure you that. A lot of white people I know have a mental illness of some sort. Um, the issue with Black people is a reprobate mind. They don't want to change. They That's the problem. Because even that guy, I told you guys I'm doing Lyft temporarily. I showed you that little amplifier that was on on my, what's it, the dashboard or whatever. And so this guy, I think it was Vietnamese, I'm not sure, was talking about how you struggle with depression and all of that stuff. I talked to a lot of people who are Korean, Chinese, especially white. I just can't find hardly one white person that don't have a mental illness. Most of them every time tell me they have something. Okay, and they, even what you call them hypochondriacs, they diagnose themselves. So it's almost like they want to have something wrong with them. you know. Um, what else? But all kinds of people. I don't care who it is. I hardly meet anybody who don't have a mental illness. So the mental illness with Black people is not the problem, because just about everybody, about 99.9% of people you come across, they're going to have a mental illness. And everybody to some degree going to have a mental illness. And the reason why is because, how do you really define it? It's just a matter of coping in this current world, in this current system. And when you can't cope in this type of system, then it's called maybe mental illness. But what if you were to go somewhere to another dimension where the system is completely different from what we are now? What do you call them? Because they may look at us like we're crazy and they're the ones that's normal. So it's really hard to just find one person who don't really have a mental illness, because you have to define what normal is. Okay? Not to say that people don't have mental illness, but I'm just saying the mental illness thing is not really an excuse for Black people, because everybody you meet gonna have something. Problem with Black people, I know people want to put it on slavery, um, but Black people have deteriorated since around that time. Black people have gone down really bad. It's been a far more indoctrination. Okay, um, and so I said the problem is a reprobate mind. They do not want to change. The same thing keeps happening over and over and over and over again, and somebody else is always to blame. Just like, say, with Black men, it's called white supremacy is always the reason, and now with a lot of Black women, it's because Black women were programmed to hate each other during the Black Power movements and before then. It's always that excuse, but it's never a solution to get better. Out of all of the services that are available, it's just nothing but tons of excuses for black people, period. Okay, so the problem is that you have a group of people that just want you to, like they say, and what's that lady? She say eat her shit. When she gave that pie to that white lady and her crap was in that pie, the black people want you to eat their shit. They don't want you. They don't want to change. They don't want to be better. They want to stay at the bottom. That's the problem. You have other groups of people with mental illness. A lot of times we brag on these other patriarchies and talking about Asian men and Asian ladies, but I'm gonna tell you something. I talked to a whole bunch of Asian women, and they ain't bragging like that. Okay, a lot of them struggle with a lot of oppression, even though they have a strong patriarchy. They still deal with a lot of misogyny and oppression, because you know it's really their mother's generation. They couldn't talk to them because their mother's generation just said suck it up, because so finally they get to a point where they're able to talk. White women were always able to talk about their problems, okay, but a lot of these Asian women and these Hispanic, and I'm talking about the that culture, they're just not able to talk about how they might have been oppressed themselves, because they also come from where the generation of their mothers just say don't complain, just suck it up and just keep going and be strong. Okay, I know black women have a totally different story, but see, that's the thing, that's the problem, is that because our story is so much more different than the Asian woman and the white woman and the Hispanic woman, a lot of times the black women use it as an excuse to not do better. It's always the same excuse. Just saying the way the black man use the white man as the reason for they shoot each other. They get tons of women pregnant, and they blame that on the breeding during slavery, so they don't stop. So they blame it on all this breeding during slavery, and it's because you got an excuse, you don't stop what you're doing. And so it's the same thing. And we're shooting each other. They say, well, who put the guns in there? Okay, so now you got another excuse. Now they're gonna keep shooting each other because you done gave them a way out. And that's why I stopped giving black women a way out when it comes to change of behaviors. We can't just keep saying, oh, but it's because of civil rights, and it's because of the Black Panther, and it's because of the Boule, and it's because of slavery, and it's because of this, and it happened, but because there's too many reasons, and using too many reasons almost seems like it continues to give you a reason not to do better. So I'm in this. What the problem is not necessarily mental illness, because I just don't hardly meet one person who might not have something going on with them. But the problem with black people are reprobate minds. It's tons of reasons for everything black people do. It's tons of excuses, but not willing to change for the better. Black people, for the most part, want to stay at the bottom. That is the problem. It's really a poverty. The biggest problem with black people is poverty consciousness. Poverty consciousness, because even though a lot of these other people have these mental illnesses, they don't think poverty. They still, for some reason, think abundance. But black people think poverty. They have a poverty consciousness. And it's not just about money when I talk about poverty. I'm talking about all areas of your life. Okay, it's a poverty consciousness with black people. Even the ones who seem to be financially doing well still have some type of poverty consciousness when it comes to black people, because they want to be the only one to seem to do it. Like they in competition. They don't want other people around them to do well who's black identified. So they still in competition. But anyway, that's it. And I'll talk to you soon.